So that's the first set done out of 3 that we got going on for the day. I'm going to sift it since time is low. So it's going to be dumbbell flats. Then we're going to go back down and see if we can shoot for an incline that's probably not even open, since I was considering the fact that today's not going to be a busy day, but there's hella people here. So we're going to see what we can get down and cut down into before we actually go into the further sets. So it's going to be 3. And like I usually do, I stick to about 45 seconds. I don't really do anything too crazy since the weight's already at a point where it's like already low. So we're going to wrap up and get into the second set. Progressive overload is the name of the game. If it's one thing I want to say repetitively, it's like, yo, like the weight's got to be up there. It's got to be increasing every other set. Ideally, that's the goal. So we won't get into it, get it done. All right, now we got set number 2. Yeah, it's better. All right, man, that's number 2 and done. So we got one more set. So we're probably going to do an extra 10 pounds and finish off with 75s. So it goes the same weight, 8 to 10. I'm looking at it in the long game, yo, because like if I'm here in the gym trying to show up or trying to find a way where I'm building strength and doing it in a way where it's like repetitive, it's automatic for me, or it just happens in a way that's simple, it's gradual and it gets to the point. Like there's no greater way to go about doing it than literally testing your mental every time you step foot. I'm pushing 65s this week. The goal is to do 75s in the next 2 weeks. If I'm not there, I'm gonna reevaluate and figure out why that is. Because if I'm not there yet, best believe it's gotta be something in relation to my training, or it's something off with my diet. I make the adjustments, I make the tweak needed, and just get to the goal. Like, you ain't gotta really overthink it or stress it. I don't stress nothing. That's why I'm seeing change every single week, bi-weekly, monthly. It's like it's an autopilot. If you want the same change, you'll do everything imaginable to make it happen. I don't really care how long it takes. It's just consistent for me. That's all it is. All right, we got the last set, set number 3 in the way. Then once that's done, I'm gonna go back down that way, probably get some incline work in. Anytime it's a chest day, anytime it's a back day, it's either 2 of each that I'm always looking to look into. It just happens on autopilot. That's how building strength should be. So we got the last set of dumbbells, flat bench. I haven't touched these in a minute, so we'll see how much I can do with it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, reps. All right, that's done. For the third set, we're gonna go walk back down the other way. If I can do cable flies and it's open, it's cool. They're going to get probably a tricep in done, man. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be smooth. It's gonna get it done. All right. All right, so look, I was a little bit lazy, so I didn't want to grab the other attachment. Nonetheless, if it's just plain steel like this, I'm gonna put it into a place where it's not gonna directly get in the involvement of the shoulder, so as the chest works. it's not all the way up in the sky when I'm lifting it or when I'm pressing it in this motion, since it works in horizontal plane. So it's got to be low enough to the point where it's not going to affect my shoulders when I'm just pressing it. So low enough as it is. So when I'm doing this exercise, it's always good to know that when that chest is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, it gets you more into a position where you can actually just cross over with the weight as you should. So injuries are going to be a part in play. When I'm working on the upper part of my chest, up here in the interior, it's got to be a little bit higher to the point where it's not exactly going to cross planes on a regular pattern. So I would keep it at one height above if I'm doing upper. And since I'm going to be working into a second set to work on the medial, I'm just going to run it back down like somewhere a little bit or below 9. So it's going to be evenly set on my chest and lower. I don't plant it fully at the bottom, just 2 or 3 slabs down below. But since I'm still doing upper chest, I got one more set left. I'm going to work and do one more up, so it's not going to really do too much strain on my elbows as I'm doing the pressing. All right, now we got the middle set, which is 2 sets working on the middle part of the chest. So I said 9 before, so I'm going to leave it back at 9 or just below it. That's good enough. If you feel for the attachment, go ahead. But me, I just keep it as it is. That's it, man. That's the first set. So we got the second set. When it comes to recovery, it don't really take too much time since it's not really like I'm doing a ton of movement and put into a position where it's going to be more effective. And I do that by just loading the weight correctly. It really is something that a lot of guys over 30 will just overcomplicate and not really understand how to set the weight to where it needs to be. So if it's at 9 over it's at 10, you want to do it in the way where the weight's going to support the direction as so. So recovery is like 45 seconds. I don't really do anything too crazy since I'm not lifting or pushing a lot of weight. I'm gonna keep the weight where it's at because it feels a little bit heavy. Okay. Easy. So that's 2 sets. And if you want to do a lower for the bottom part of the chest, I'm not going to work on that today since I already got that back earlier. Then you just lower it 2 to 3, at least 3 below from the bottom. I don't do it all the way from the bottom since it creates a lot of friction. All right, so for now we got the tricep attached. We're going to use some new tricep extensions. So we're going to go for 2 variations and switch it and get to it. So we kept the weight at 32.5. So overall, it's a pretty light weight to look into. Though look, I'm trying to build strength. So the goal is to like add 5 pounds. I don't care if it's 10. I don't care if it's 20. At the end of the day, you got to make sure you do it in the way where it's going to add strength and volume over time. If you don't do that, then it's like you're just wasting time trying to do something that's not going to work. So building strength needs to be combative, needs to be consistent. And I do that regularly. It's the only reason why I'm able to have the physique I have now and trying to tell you to do the exact same thing that I'm doing in hopes you get the same results or even better. Easy, easy money. That's the only thing that I'm looking at in terms of building strength and doing it in a way where it's most helpful, all right? A lot of you guys got it backwards, do everything or anything trying to build strength or just build your arms in a way that's gonna be most helpful. And it's not helping you. So you wanna do this extension, this variation, and then we're going to do another one where it's going to be all the way up here. So it's gonna be more of like a overhead extension. So we're going to do that and get to it. So, I mean, the weight shouldn't be too far down and it shouldn't be too far up. I'm putting it at, it's got to be all the way up. At least second from top or top from first. I don't really care how you want to look at it. Like, it's got to be in a way where it's going to help you build strength, and do it in a way where you're going to see progression and not much resistance. I'm not even going to lie. This is my favorite tricep exercise because of the control that I get from the movement. It's just right. It's ideal. So progressive overload, it should be held in a way where you're going to build strength. Either it's 5 or 10 pounds every other set. It should be in some way like that. So I'm going for the first set right now. That's one set, one and done. So we got one more set. I'm gonna change the angle a little bit so you guys can see what it's like. If you're trying to build strength, to do it in a way where it's gonna help you and not create resistance or friction, it's gonna be the exact thing you want to actually do to get to your goal, man. There really is no other way to go about it. Just my take on it. All right, so we got one more set left. Same set, man, same set. Just a little bit more variation, a bit more length to it. Recovery. I mean, for this, I keep it short. No more than like 45, 50 seconds tops, since I'm not pressing heavy weight like I would on bench or doing squats in general, which require more exertion, more rest time. So when it comes to this, like, I'm just keeping it light and maxing out as much as I can on the retention and getting that done. When I get to the point where I can't do any more reps, I just knock you back up 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever weight it was before that I was normally on, and get back to it. That's it. So on the real, my left side is significantly weaker than my right, so I'll just do basic extensions, single rope. I normally keep it at 7.5 or 12, depending on how it feels. That's 12. Yeah, it's 12. Very basic. I said it was 12, but it wasn't 12. It's 17. Yeah, it's 17. So I usually just finish off with some left sides extensions to kind of balance out both sides, since this side is obviously weaker, so much weaker. So I just balanced it out in that way. So there was 2 chest, 2 triceps that we did. This was the rope pull downs and overhead extensions. So I'm gonna grab a dumbbell, either do it in the corner right there or shoot back down that way. And yeah, just wrap it up. All right, so now we got one more exercise I'm gonna cut and put it in the corner. There's gonna be dumbbell extensions for the triceps. Somewhat similar to this we were doing with the pull downs, but it's gonna be with a dumbbell. So that was one set done for the triceps extensions. We got one more on the way. Recovery is going to be between about 30, 45 seconds tops. It doesn't seem anything too concrete. At the end of the day, if you're able to vocalize what you need to do, I find that resting sufficiently is going to give me the best amount of tension possible to control with the work and the weight that I do. That's going to be it for today's session. Clock in with the next one. And that is it. We're finishing our session tonight. We're going to go back home and get some meal prep out of the way. Let's clock in for the next one. Peace.